Well, first I got a call from JJ. It was unexpected. It just kind of, I was shooting and he kind of tracked me down in my hotel room. Um, and we talked a little bit about Trek, and he didn't know if I had any connection to it, and so um, that was kind of our first conversation. Just kind of, I met him a couple days later. Um, I had some time to think about it, and it was very exciting to me because it was not something I was seeking out, but I realized how much it was part of my life growing up, and that kind of, for me, kind of tipped the scale of wanting to kind of try and be a part of this franchise. I think 10 years of it being on in our living room every day, and it's kind of the only time I got to spend with my parents. The crew of the Enterprise became kind of our family, and it also was very interesting because in a way, it was very progressive for its time because it had a very multi-ethnic cast, and it had this kind of this sense of exploration that I really liked also as a kid. When JJ called me, he was very clear on wanting to start over, clean slate, and the fact that we had to be rolling camera basically in 5 months, So knowing that, I felt it was important to make sure, I had the right collaborators, and I felt very fortunate to be paired with Simon and Doug. I remember being in London with them and Lindsay in a room and just trying to hash out ideas, and it was really interesting because there was, like, in the process of doing that, I realized Star Trek is one of the few franchises that has cross mediums. Having done TV, I realized why there was a bridge in the original series, and how they would have adventures weekly, But the fact that JJ was able to kind of, well, not even JJ, but the fact that, Star Trek kind of moved medium, went from TV to film, and then in many ways, JJ restarting it in this kind of tentpole world, it was really interesting having that conversation of what can we capture, even at the very core, its essence, that is Star Trek, so that it could thrive, hopefully, in this bigger budget environment. Chris, to me, he is the consummate actor. You can't get away with anything. Yeah, I love the fact that when he comes on set, whatever's written, whatever's behind the words, he is going to test and push. And I've had some great conversations with him, especially I think with this process because, Captain Kirk has, he's not only kind of the lead of this crew, he's also going through a lot of kind of personal turmoil that's actually could be seen as broad, but also very subtle. And I love the challenges that Chris would bring to the writing, to the scenes, and I felt like he was a partner in kind of building this whole film and Kirk's arc. Zach's great. I mean, Zach is someone that whenever I show up on set, for the rest of my career, I hope any actor, if they could be like Zach, that would make my life easier because he comes prepared. We have great conversations, especially with the Spock that he's created, but also at the same time the legacy of Spock, and so that is something that I really, especially coming in on third one, and JJ's take on Spock and JJ and also Zach's take on Spock, it was great to have that conversation because we do explore a lot more his human side in this canon, and a lot of those subtleties, I really felt like I needed a great collaborator, and Zach, having done 2 of them before, it was great to kind of have that conversation with him. I think one of the reasons why I was excited about doing this film was Simon Pegg. I've been a big fan of his, not only as an actor, but also as a writer. So to get in that room and really trying to figure out what this film is, on its kind of core, and then kind of building out from there. It was a challenge, and it was not easy, and I love Simon's passion. He fights but he fights because he believes in it, you know. And I think in the writing process, having Simon and Doug, it was something that I think I've always wished for in a collaboration, and I really got it. And they're great. I would say they're kind of bigger, way bigger Star Trek fans. They just know a lot more of the details. So I always felt like it was we were a good team because I can throw anything out there, and I had to make sure I make it through the Simon Doug filter, you know. But as an actor, it was unbelievable how much he knew the character. And I think being in that room, coming up with ideas and seeing these words come to life, I mean, it was just amazing having him on set. You know, it was just, he is one of the few actors that he never, even when he's doing off-camera stuff, he's giving 100%. And so it's that energy that I think on these big productions, to keep that momentum going, you know, having someone like Simon by my side was so important.